Shit. I've made a bad decision. This is too late to do this. Hello everyone, I'm Will. I understand that you weren't expecting to see my face, and you're probably very disappointed not to see August and Emery's faces, but, you know, life happens and sometimes you're stuck with people that you don't know and probably don't like very much. Luckily for you, they'll be back and etc, etc. It's now officially after 4 in the morning here in Western Australia, so I thought it would be the perfect time to make this video because time zones confused the crap out of me and I couldn't figure out if I could make this after I woke up and it would still be the time that I needed to make it by in the Northern Hemisphere. So here we are. At least at 4 in the morning people tend to be themselves, I'm sure. I'm gonna have so much fun editing this because it's just babbling. So this week's topic is how did we know we were trans? For me personally, my parents didn't raise me to believe in stereotypical gender roles or to not believe in them. They just weren't talked about like society talks about gender, I guess. But I would like to say that I was probably very obviously pushed into thinking specific genders did specific things by my siblings. See, this is a lot of pressure for me because knowing that I was trans wasn't something that I came to. I read a lot of stories about trans people, how they saw something or read something or met someone or whatever else and something clicked, or over time they picked up on things and they were like bam bam bam, this suits my experience, I finally get it. For me, it wasn't something that I ever thought about as a kid. I had a lot of dysphoria, but I didn't know that wasn't something that you're not supposed to have. I hit puberty at a very young age, at about 7 or 8. Things started happening to me well before everyone else, and I thought the things that I was feeling was more the fact that everyone else was still kids and I was becoming something I didn't want to become because I don't want to be a teenager. What was I saying? I keep trailing off. This is something that happens to me in real life as well. It's just awful. Yeah, so when I started growing a chest and I was forced to start wearing bras and things, I used to just buy sports bras that were tight enough that it didn't look like I had a chest, and obviously I was binding. It wasn't something that I ever thought about as being something that girls weren't supposed to do, and so I just went with life and thought that I was just uncomfortable with hitting puberty before everyone else, so once again it was never a thing that I ever thought about. You know, I wasn't raised to know about trans people, I wasn't raised really to know about queer people, but I wasn't raised to not know about them either. It just wasn't something that was talked about. But over time, as I was slowly introduced to like queer culture and queer whatever and life and etc., even though I live in like the most isolated capital city and there is none, I think I just slowly learned about trans people and just transition and like different identities. And when I was 16, I met who's now one of my best friends, and he was the first trans person that I'd ever met. I sort of just learnt about what dysphoria meant through him. Just the way that he talked about his body just reminded me of the way that I felt about my body. I thought about it a little more, and then I realised that I never thought of myself as anything in particular. And it was sort of just like really, really so gradual. What's something that happens really gradually? Like growing. You don't pay attention to the fact that over time you get taller, because one day you're, a 3-year-old that's only 2 foot high, and then suddenly you grow up and you're 3 feet taller. That is really what happened when I realized I was trans. Everything just slowly, like tiny little bricks fell on and built a wall, and then it was like, alright, I guess it's time to come out. And that's pretty much what happened. This is probably easily the worst topic for me to sub on. Like, it makes me look like a horrible sub because it's like, it wasn't a thing for me, and it wasn't like, I could show you photos of myself pre-transition, besides the fact that I've been on T for years. I look exactly the same. It wasn't anything hard to accept. Like, it makes it sound so dumb when I say it. Once again, I'd like to remind you that it is 4:15 in the morning. I'm so delirious that I keep zoning out on my own sentences. I'm so sorry for my existence. Goodbye.